As we mentioned, former Baylor and Kentucky head coach Guy Morris passed away. Phil Tran, former Baylor, he was a transfer, right? I believe George Washington University was a transfer, running back at Baylor, and really got to know Coach Morris, not only just there, but there was a post he put up here, Garrett, if you have it, from Phil back I think this was last week. It was September the 1st. Grateful to have spent Thanksgiving in 2019 with my Baylor head football coach Guy Morris and his wife Jackie in Lexington, Kentucky. Coach Morris has been battling Alzheimer's since 2017. Recently entered hospice. Coach Morris is one of the greatest men in my life. We're now joined by Phil Tran on Sic'Em 365 Radio, 365 Sports. And Phil, obviously you had a chance to see him somewhat recently, and it was just inevitable when they say hospice. We know what the answer is there. What are your thoughts about Guy Morris today?
Oh, first, Smokey, thanks for having me on the program. I wish it was under better circumstances. But Coach Morris, yes, indeed, was one of the greatest men in my life. In 2017, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and I wanted to make it a point to visit him as soon as I could. That opportunity came Thanksgiving of 2019. I went over to Lexington, Kentucky, where he and his family have retired, and spent some high-quality time with the family. It was great to see him. Great to see Mrs. Morris and the rest of the family. And we just had a great time together. It was definitely a special moment and a very memorable moment.
Phil, Guy might not get his overall due at Baylor. His record here was losing, and that was, he was the transitional coach, but he really did a lot of things that people didn't notice. What was it about him that really drew you here, and what are the things that people need to know about him that they don't?
So real quick on my backstory. So yes, I did transfer into Baylor University after my fall semester in my freshman year at George Washington University. They actually did not have a football team, and I missed playing football a lot. So I knew I just needed to play college football somewhere. And I am a strong believer in Jesus Christ. I prayed to God for direction and guidance, and he led me to Baylor University, where I walked on to the Baylor football program and made the team. I came into Baylor University the same time that Coach Morris and his staff came into Baylor University, and he made a very strong impression on me. He's a hard worker. He's a strong leader. He's a great man. And he did much of the yeoman's work to really build and rebuild the program. As you have mentioned earlier in the program, much of the facilities that you see standing on campus today would not have happened if Coach Morris did not lay the groundwork for those facilities. And he was also putting together the pieces in place for the long-term success for Baylor football. There were seasons where if a couple games went our way, the ball bounced in our direction, we could have went to bowl game during my time at Baylor University. Didn't happen, but I treasure that time that I got to play at Baylor for Coach Morris. He's a very strong role model, a great Christian man, and I definitely appreciate his leadership and his impact on my life, and also the leadership and impact he made on the lives of all my teammates.
Phil, you had a chance, and the connection and relationship between most coaches and players lasts forever. You did see him 3 years ago during the holidays. What was the occasion? Were you driving through? Did you reach out to him or his wife? How did that work out?
I reached out to his wife, Mrs. Morris, Jackie Morris, and just asked if I could come over and visit, and she said yes, so I did.
What was that like?
As you know, Alzheimer's disease, they call it the long goodbye. So when you're coming in, you are nervous, because the thing that everybody is nervous about is do the important people in my life who's currently suffering from this disease still remember me and the moments that we had together. And certainly that was a concern of mine coming in. And praise the Lord, at the time, Coach Morris still very much remembered me. And we had a good time talking and reminiscing. He was struggling, but he's a fighter, and he battled through the disease. And Mrs. Morris has definitely been a champion, just taking care of her husband, Guy Morris, and the rest of the family, caretakers of patients who are battling Alzheimer's disease need to have very, very, very strong will and strong faith, and Mrs. Morris definitely had that.
Phil, what's your favorite on-field memory of Coach Morris?
On field,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes to point to the Texas A&M game in 2004, so I'll point to that game in particular. We all know that that's the first time we beat Texas A&M after a 19-year drought, and it was a back-and-forth game that exchanged leads throughout the night, went into overtime, and after Texas A&M scored a go-ahead, I think, yeah, if my memory serves me correct, yes, I think they scored a go-ahead touchdown, and then we scored, and instead of going for a tie, we went for the win. It was a very gutsy call, and as we will hear from Mr. Dominique Ziegler, my teammate, later on in this program, he'll tell the story from firsthand experience on the field, making the game-winning play. But Sean Bell made the pass to Dominique Ziegler to get the two-point conversion, and bedlam and pandemonium ensued. It was a very, very memorable and indelible on-field memory for me and for all Baylor Nation.
And where were you at the time when the play was made?
I was on the sideline.
I know, but how close were you to the actual goal line, or when the play? Where were you?
So I remember from our Baylor sideline, we were going to the right. So I want to say I was standing on the sideline probably around the plus 40. So on the side of the play on around the 40-yard line. Mm-hmm. And then once the catch was made and the ruling on the field was declared, everybody just stormed to the field. And the entire student section ran onto the field. I know I was running around, and everybody was just going nuts. And it was an awesome night.
Phil, we appreciate you. We really do. It says a lot. I know with Dominique, as you mentioned, he'll be on in about an hour. Bill Bradley's been sending pictures when he was at the Harold Carmichael induction. Guy Morris was at his Hall of Fame induction. Dick Vermeil, Coach Morris, and Bill Bradley, among others. And then we're going to hear from J.J. Joe, who knew him because J.J. played, and then, of course, the broadcaster now that he is. What's been the reaction among former teammates of yours? Has there been kind of a text chain going back and forth today?
Yes. We've been communicating via text, via telephone, and social media about the news. And it's been very somber. Everyone is sending their condolences and their heartfelt prayers. And it's tough news. It really is. We knew it was inevitable, but it's tough to handle it just the same because of the tremendous impact that Coach Morris has made on all of our lives.
You've handled it incredibly well, Phil. Thank you very much for being a part of today's show and also for being available. Thank you so much, and good luck getting through the day.
Thanks, sir.
Phil Tran, former Baylor running back, transfer from George Washington, who played there when Morris is right there, was on the sideline in that famous game with A&M. And it just happened to drop by, and he reached out to Mrs. Morris, Jackie. It went by to see his former coach at Thanksgiving 3 years ago. Bill Brown.